Howdy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
You guys are doing pretty good, pumping away at your listings,
Doing pretty good at what?
getting your listings all up and out.
Yeah. Well, just one listing so far this year. The other ones were buyers.
Yeah, buyers are good. How are you?
Yeah.
How are
Buyers
you?
under contract are good.
Right. How are you tackling getting those buyers? Is that just your warm market?
Yep.
I imagine it's just getting your name out there. I mean, me, anyways.
Yeah. I'm pretty heavily sphere of influence.
Yeah, which is awesome.
All right. I can't find a pen. I'll be right back. Okay. I have a fun one for you though. I just got a call this morning. One of my longtime we have been best friends since middle school. And I was one of her bridesmaids, she was one of my bridesmaids. When she was getting married, I was like 36 weeks pregnant and flew across the country for her wedding. And they've since moved back and are here. And they've been renting for the past couple of years, and we've been continuously talking about them moving towards home ownership and getting their careers underway and everything. And so she called me today for a buyer consult. And then the call was kind of weird and off, and her husband was right there. So I could tell something was off. And she texted me afterwards and she's like, yep, I'm being forced to interview multiple agents to see who we're going to purchase a home with. I'm like, amazing. Great. So I told her, I said, well, you should at least let me know who I'm competing against.
It wasn't me yet.
Nope. No, I can tell it's both sides of the parents were like, you should use my realtor because they're both not in my generation.
Well,
and I know for a fact her parents used one of them.
I was working on a neighbor up the street the last month and a half, and I went by there and did my 8x8s and all that fun stuff. Anyways, I went by there to see how they were doing, and her husband passed away a while ago, so it's this nice 2,600 square foot home by herself. Anyways, her daughter and her husband live near Deer, and so anyway, so I'm go by there 2 days ago. I'm like, hey, just wanted to follow up, see how you're doing, and market picking up again, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, oh, my daughter's here, and we're actually gonna go.
Oh, you froze.
So
wow. Are you back? No. Not at all. Are you back now? You're unfrozen. Talk. No?
Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
All right. So anyways, the daughter says, oh, when I answered the door, the mom was there. She's the older lady. She's saying she says, oh yeah, my daughter has a real estate agent that she wants me to go through. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Totally deflated.
All right, people are coming on.
The good thing is at least I knew she was thinking about it this whole
True.
time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Okay, let's get attendance rolling. So or attendance accountability. I already got attendance down. So we'll do contacts you've made, any appointments you've set or attended, and contracts written, and anything else that you really quickly want to share. And then we'll intro our amazing instructor for the day. Corin, you want to get started?
Fantastic. Yeah, I wrote an offer yesterday on a piece of property. It's really fun because the client of mine is now on a mission for 10 days outside of the country and has very limited access to any kind of connectivity. So if there's any kind of counter offer, it'll be interesting to finagle that one. But at least the offer's in, so that's a plus. Working on another offer, hopefully being submitted today. And then I have a very aggressive buyer that wants to try and be in contract by next week. But of course, it's on the stereotypical 3.2 over 1,200 square foot in the 330 price range. So if anybody has any of those, send them my way. If you don't have any buyers. But she did expand the search up to Lynn County, which is interesting because I don't have the MLS up there. So anybody has MLS up in Lynn County, which I believe is the Willamette Valley MLS. So yeah, and then I'm working with a potential seller. I've been working on her for a couple weeks. She's a for sale by owner. I have her convinced. She just needs to convince her husband, or I do, that she wants to list with me, or they want to list with me. And that's what I've been doing the last week or so.
Excellent. Avery?
Well, I didn't get a lot done today. I went to the gym because they all reopened yesterday, so I was super excited about that. And I did hand out about 20 cards at the local nail shop that I go to get my nails done. So they're there. And I also have a buyer that we submitted all the paperwork on for land as well. And so that's all going through title right now. And we're looking like around the 14th for a closing date on that. So that's where I'm at.
Zoe?
I'm standing in for Jeff right now. He is out of the room, but we'll be here probably momentarily. We each had one new conversation about real estate with our contacts and have added some new notes and are working on smart plans, but that's about it right now.
Great, thank you. Stephanie?
Let me look at my tracker here. Let's see, I had 9 new people out of my database, 4 contacts about real estate, and 8 note cards.
Excellent, great job. Chelsea?
Good afternoon. My day has been spent so far talking to both buyers, just checking in with them, my regular RMLS check-ins, which are not just coming up with anything yet, but I keep doing them just to make sure they know I'm doing them. And then actually my sellers of my last home, who are now my buyers, she has been interested in real estate. So I've been speaking to her all morning about which program would be good to sign up for, which ones I used, promoting KW and the coaching program. So that's pretty cool. And I'm letting her know that I would love to do like open houses with her if the world goes back to a semi-normal state, and work with her and get her excited about it. So she's super interested in joining, which is pretty cool. And then pretty much organizing my emails because I'm terrible at that. And we're considering listing our own home. And so doing a bunch of research on capital gains tax, because we haven't lived here for 2 years until July 5th. So trying to get some good info on that and doing some staging of my home so I can get it ready for pictures in case we do list. So
Excellent, great job. Debbie?
Today I've been cold calling again. The last couple days I've been cold calling around a sold listing. And today I got a hold of an ex-husband who says his ex-wife's getting ready to sell. So I reached out 3 different ways: note, phone, email to her. And then I talked to another gentleman who says they're going to be selling here in the next few months. And he would like me to keep in contact with him because he does not have a real estate agent. So I sent him a note and an email, and I'm going to follow up to make sure he got my card on Friday.
Excellent. Great job. Alicia?
Can you hear me right at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm driving. I made a couple contacts. I have an appointment for Friday still. I do have a phone appointment with a potential seller. And yeah, I have a list of people that I want to reach out to that I'm going to do today. So I've identified my people I'm going to call.
Excellent. Good. Sometimes it's helpful to get through that list if you prep it first. So it's good work. Julie?
Hi there. Yeah, so I met with the buyer, and right now they're doing some credit repair, so they're a little ways out, but that's okay. We'll be staying in touch with them, and made a couple other contacts, and just following up with my other buyers.
Excellent. Great job. Abby?
I'm with Avery. I haven't done much, but I did go to the gym today. And really, I've kind of been reaching out to everybody who's liked and followed my Facebook page because I don't know some of them. So I thought it would be a really good place to start. But I haven't done much else other than reach out. Haven't added anybody to the contacts yet.
Awesome. Great job. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I haven't reached out to anybody today. I did have a Zoom meeting with a representative from a title company earlier, which was really informative, and she's got some cool technology that I'm gonna take a look at some more. Some of it kind of just looks like a reformatted RLID, but I like the way hers was formatted better. It seemed a little bit more user friendly. So that was cool. I have a couple of like investor tech contacts that are just old friends that I want to reach out to after class today. And then I'm going to be meeting up with one of my cousins actually, who's looking to buy a house sometime in the next 6 months, a year, or something like that, just so we can discuss a little bit more about what he's looking for. I don't know precisely whether he's going to be able to find exactly what he wants, but I'm sure I can help him find something close enough. Just because he's wanting something with a like a shop built onto it already, and I don't know if he's going to be able to find exactly that with as quick as things are going right now. But I'll look into it and figure it out. So that's cool. And yeah, I want to start cold calling people very soon. I've just been, I don't have a whole lot of good excuses for that other than family stuff. But I want to start doing that by tonight or maybe tomorrow, probably. Yeah, let's do that because I think my period for that's already over.
Nikki?
Hi, I've made 3 more cards and put my business cards in them, mailed them out. I have a lunch meeting on Tuesday with an insurance agent friend who says he has some contacts to get me in contact with. And then I ordered some little mail flyers to send out, and that's about it.
Excellent. Nuri?
Hi, I have not had any contact yet. I haven't done cold calling, so I'm kind of know how to do cold calling, like for sale by owner or like expired or anything withdrawal. I kind of wanted to learn how to do it so that I can start cold calling them, so that I can add more contacts.
Yeah, I bet if you popped on to one of Matt's like office hours, he would brainstorm with you. There's definitely some good scripts out there and stuff.
Yeah, I might have to contact him soon, as soon as I'm done, class is over.
Tori?
bless this mess. I don't feel well. I've been in my bed all day. But and I'm also working my other job at the county, but I've actually been able to talk to 7 people about real estate from my bed.
That's
So
amazing.
you can do this job from anywhere. Focus. Oh, and I've been working with my coach as far as like closing. So this morning I wrote an email to the seller's agent, just kind of like writing an addendum to a somewhat ambiguous but non-ambiguous closing date, because it was all based on like the appraisal being approved by the lender. So we just went ahead and wrote an addendum saying like, you know, that was set to be 30 days from that approval, which puts us at February 25th. And just been kind of brainstorming how to like continue to move forward in this process positively, because it's been positive so far, but there's some tenants. So I know that, yeah, it's a little bit tricky right now. So
Sherry.
You said Sherry?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Been working on talking to hopefully buyers for the mobile home park. Got one lead like the first day or two, but it came in really low. You know, she didn't want to take that so soon. But it's still fun going through the process, and there's a lot of interest. So we'll see what happens with that. I have a buyer that's wanting some property up in McKenzie and had a couple lots she's interested in. So we're going to go look at some of those. And after she spoke with Heather to see exactly where she's at, so that now we're good to go. And I made a Facebook ad for a property I have in Bonita, and overnight I got 7 leads, and so I'm not sure how good they are, but I'm gonna jump on that for sure, and maybe set up a smart plan with those leads and get a hold of them. And it's supposed to run for about 10 days, and it's been a day so far. So
awesome.
Yeah. So just kind of I have a couple new contacts that are pretty solid leads in the last week or so.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. Kel?
Yes, this morning I was actually showing a few properties for 2 of my buyers, and this afternoon actually I have a new appointments scheduled with someone who's interesting another buyer. So after this class.
Excellent. Tanaya?
Hi. So I am in the inspection process with my first buyer. So I've been meeting with inspectors and contractors and getting things going for them. I've made 3 new contacts with potential buyers, people that are looking to buy this year. I got my business cards all finished and printed up, and I've met with 2 different loan officers to form a relationship with them together.
Excellent. Great job. Jeff, Zoe pretty much introed for you and let us know, but anything you really want to add?
Echo. Yeah, I'll just say I had one conversation with a lender partner. We really spent quite a bit of time yesterday working on our listing presentation. You gave us so many good examples, and we're trying to make it our own with our own branding and doing some of that stuff. We also, because we're working side by side for 3 weeks in a row, referring back to the DISC profile, right? Because we are learning how we work. That is a challenge. So we are figuring that stuff out and plowing forward with the businesses. And we've really identified a few ways we hope to build leads this year. And so we're trying to tackle setting those things up and getting them ready. So just a lot going on, but one conversation, no new contacts or no cards for me.
Awesome. Christina?
Hi, how are you? Just continuing to, reach out to my sphere. I have one new buyer and putting together a listing presentation. Thank you for your input on that. And yeah, just going through, just cleaning up my database and just, reaching out to people and having some pretty good luck. So
Excellent. Great job. Perfect. Well, I'm going to introduce Sean, who's here from Capital City today. Before I introduce him, just some quick reminders. Just about 10 more days to get signed up for Family Reunion. If you are wanting to take advantage of that discounted rate, make sure you let us know. Also, don't forget about the mastermind that the Experience Brokerage Network is putting on tomorrow from 9 to 9:45. They're going to be interviewing a top agent out of Portland and talking about how to get your offers accepted. So if you need help finding the link for that or anything, let me know. And then last but not least, just remember that we are not going to be doing an accountability check-in. I still expect you guys to, do your best efforts to make your contacts and get that business going, but we won't be spending the class time tomorrow doing that. And because Leslie will be diving right into that profit sharing class. So without further ado, Sean was born and raised in the Salem area. He obtained his real estate license in 2017. He retired from corrections and law enforcement after 21 years to pursue his passion and dream to help people with their real estate needs. This background has provided him with the opportunity to work closely with a wide variety of people of various ages and cultures and has helped him in his real estate career. In 2016, his wife Kim joined him and they formed the Keen Group real estate team and their business took off. So another example of a husband and wife team that have done a really great job building their business together. And I'm really excited to have him teach you guys. So I'll let him take it away.
Oh,
That's
hello,
a quick
everyone.
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
For
will the mastermind tomorrow morning be taped or videoed where we can access it? Or?
Not that I know of where it'll be accessed. Sometimes they keep the masterminds. I don't know if they're going to do it for the for all the production groups, but sometimes they keep them kind of private so people can feel like open and comfortable to talk about whatever they're having going on.
Okay, thanks.
Can we get the link to that?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat box here before I get off.
Thank you.
All right, sure. Nikki, I'm going to mute you because you have a lot of background noise, but if you have a question or anything you need to talk about, just unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yay, my turn.
Your turn.
Hello, everyone. All right. Well, a little more background about me. Like I said, it's me and my wife, but we also have a buyer's agent. We also have an admin / runner on our team. Last year, we sold just under 18 million in volume, and we sold 48 homes. This year, we're first month of the year, so we're a little early, but so far we're pacing. Our goal is 35 million this year, and we're on pace for that through the first month. So that's good. Yeah, I'm pretty easygoing, pretty open. I'll tell you anything you want to know. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and ask, or just ask or type. I'll try to follow the chat and I'll keep answering questions. I do go on tangents once in a while. So if it gets a little too much, or if I go too fast, I do talk fast, raise a hand, let me know, and I'll slow down or I'll explain why I'm on that tangent. One of the big things I heard y'all talking about, which is one of my favorite things, is you guys wrote handwritten notes. We send out probably, my biggest expense for my business is postage. We send out probably anywhere from 200 to 250 handwritten cards a month from our team. And they go for all sorts of things. I mean, birthdays, anniversaries, just saying hi, just checking in, things like that. But that's a big thing. And we get a lot of response from that. Most of our business is from past client and referral. We don't do a whole lot of cold calling. We don't do Zillow. We don't pay any of those people. We pay pretty much zero on lead generation. Everything we do is hands-on. So that gives you a little idea of how we run our business. So I am going to share my screen. Oops, share the screen here. Let's see. Just so y'all know, I am not the greatest at this thing, so it'll be a little clunky for a while. Okay, come on. There we go. Boom. All right, there we go. Okay, we're gonna start. Everyone knows we just talked about that. Head in the game. This is the same one you guys go through. You'll go through every class, but we're in a different stage now. You're right between agreements and contracts. We're on page 11 of your packet if you are like me and old school and have to have things printed. I mean, this is kind of where everybody needs to be. I mean, you've got the contacts, you've got the appointments, you're starting to get the agreements, and right now we're gonna talk about how to sell the listings once you get them. I mean, it's one thing to get them; it's a whole different world just when you start selling them and what you need to do. Let me see. I'll check this page. Okay, to page 12. Okay. One of the biggest things we need to realize as real estate agents is we are fiduciaries. I don't know if you remember that from real estate school. Actually, I don't know how many new people we have or how many new people to Ignite we have or just new to KW, but we are fiduciaries. Our job is to put the buyer's interest or the seller's interest, financial interest ahead of ours. And that's by law. So that is important to always remember because you run into people and agents that don't do that, and sellers and buyers can feel that and they'll sense that and they know that. So when it comes down to, I call it commission breath. Agents that have it and they need that check and they want it. So that's one of the first things you guys need to remember is we are legally and ethically entrusted with the money management of the property between the two parties. So some of the things we're going to talk about is like staging the listing, how to market, and how to communicate with your sellers while we go through this. Staging the property. Why do we stage properties? Why do people want property stages? Anyone? I'll start calling on people. I will.
Because the property is a product and we need to make sure that it's desirable to the buyers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think maybe because you want them to see what it could look like when they live there.
True. Right? Yep. I mean, our goal is to be the expert and put the best foot forward of this property. This is the suggestions. We have a stager that we use, and she comes in and does consults on all of our homes. We won't pay for staging. That is up to between her and the seller, but she will give them like 2 or 3 pages of lists of ideas of things to do before the photos. So that and that's what my team pays for as part of the listing process. But we're trying to put the best foot forward. I mean, we want people to, what somebody said, I didn't see who it was, but we want them to imagine themselves living there. We want to create for lack of a better word, the dream and the feeling of this is home. And that's what your goal is to do on all of them. We hear it all the time, and that's one of the things we try to stay away from is you'll hear agents and buyers agents and buyers say, this doesn't look like anything like the photos. Try to stay away from that. There is virtual staging companies out there where we'll virtually stage stuff and things like that. Try to put the true representation of what the property is out there. There was an agent, he actually is on a TV show. If you might have seen him, but in New York, that he started using virtual staging, and then he decided, well, it would look better if we removed that wall. Oh, it would look better if we move that countertop and put this countertop on in the virtual staging. Yeah, he got in trouble because that's not a representation of the house. He was making remodels within the photos, and when people went to look at it, the house still had that wall. The house still had the old counters, and so he got reported and got in trouble for doing that. So if you're going to stage or if you're going to do any of the virtual stagings, make sure you make it so that it's a true representation. What else is important about staging?
I would say staging also is helpful for maybe like an untidy home. The market I moved from, like staging was pretty much part of everybody's package. Like you said, a consult, that wasn't even like a negotiation. You paid for photos, you brought in a consultant. And then like you said, if you move forward with they want to move forward with it, they can pay the money. But I think it's also like nice to have an outside source come in and give staging ideas, but also make it clear that, like it would be nice if these items weren't here or was less cluttered, and just so that you're not necessarily having to convey that information, maybe just kind of like break it up a little bit. So
That's exactly the answer I was looking for. I can go do it, and I will tell people. I'm not the biggest in this stager myself, but I can do it. I can tell them, hey, paint that wall, do this. This needs to change. But then I still have to have a working relationship with them. And if they are offended, or if there's something that didn't work out right, so that's why we went to the stager doing the consult. She's third party. She's neutral. She does it all. And if they don't like what she says, that's fine. But then they're still working with me and not her after that. They don't even usually see her after that. And so it kind of gives a little buffer there. And she doesn't mind being the bad guy kind of idea. So it helps in keeping the relationship with us. Because if I go through and say, hey, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go, and well, that's great grandma's antique, we can't get rid of that. I'm like, okay, well, it needs to go still. Also, a good thing for staging consults is something that we do, and I know a lot of agents that do that, is when you're sitting down with them and you're going through this, getting ready for the staging call and everything, tell them if there's anything in the property that just is flat out not going to be included in the sale. Like I had one property that it was a chandelier that was in the entryway. It was her great grandmother's, who gave it to her grandmother, who gave it to her mother, who gave it to her. I told them to take it down before we even took photos and put it on the market. Put the new one up. Because the luck is somebody's going to fall in love with that house because of that chandelier, and she's not parting with it, kind of idea. So I always ask that question: is there anything in this property that you just absolutely will not, you want to take with you? You won't negotiate any, and whatever it is, have them remove it. So it's not even in photos, it's not even there. That would, to me, that falls under the staging consult part of the thing. And staging brings higher offers. It does. I mean, it's proven. I mean, this is on page 14. The statistics are shown that from these are a little older, but they do. I mean, every house that we have consults on and stuff, our price point has gone up since we started doing that on what we're selling at. What's the number one room you should, if you're on a budget, who knows an idea of where we should start? It's right here on the bottom of the little map on page 14. Give you a hint.
Living space, the main living room.
Main living room. Then next is the kitchen.
Kitchen.
And then the dining room. There's a dining room, and then last is a master. A lot of times we don't touch other bathrooms or bedrooms unless it's something special that we need to take care of. But picture the place people are living and go from there. If you have a room with a great view of something, that room, because you want to stage it for that view. We have one we just sold on the Malawi River that had 30-foot ceiling with windows, so that the house was all arranged to look out at the river. And so you want to do things like that. That, like I said, we're trying to sell the dream. Things that are important to staging. On page 15, there's a couple questions there. People say, what would a response be if a seller says, I don't see why it's important to stage?
I would just give them the statistics that you just gave us about the higher price point, it's selling faster, the cleaner look, especially for photos, and the virtual tours. I think it's really important for at this point because so many people are at home and they are really utilizing the virtual tours.
Well, and also I would want to throw in on that people coming from out of town, it gives them more of a feel for being inside of the house.
Yeah, yep, exactly. We do our 3D dollhouse tours along with a walkthrough and then the photos for all of our listings, but not so much right now in this current market. But when we're competing against other listings, and you have, you're trying to sell a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot house, and there are 10 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot houses in that area for sale, you want to stand out. You want to be the best one. So that's part of the stance is we're competing against this house or that house, whatever house you found as a comp that you're telling them they're competing with. We want to look better than that one. Look, it's not staged. Here are the photos. Look what these photos look like. If we get the stage, we're going to get the higher price.
I have a question.
Yes.
In a market like Central Oregon, where we have, certain houses that, they're, 0 days on the market and they've got multiple offers. What would, as going into a listing, what would the seller, how would you combat a seller saying, why would the benefit be to me if there's all these other homes that are going this quickly?
More money.
Okay.
If we don't stage it, we may get 1 or 2 people come to put in, we'll get a bunch of showings, we'll get 1 or 2 offers, maybe 3 in the current market. This is what I'm telling people right now. There aren't a whole lot of homes out there active on the market. A lot of homes are actually coming on the market. If you look at the statistics and the numbers, listing numbers are up through the roof in almost all the markets. It's just there's so many buyers out there and the interest rates are so low right now, they're all going so quick. Influxes from out of state, things like that, more buyers than there are sellers. So if you look, numbers are through the roof when it comes to listings. They're just going that quick. I just looked this morning, we have between Salem and Kaiser, we have 152 active homes on the market. And not one, and we need about 600 to 700 to be a flowing even market. And of those, not a single one is under 50 days on the market. So everything in the last 50 days has come on the market, boom, it's gone right away. So the response to that would be, we're going to get people looking, we're going to offers. Do you want 2 or 3 offers? Or do we want 4 or 5 offers to get that price higher? We're trying to get you top dollar. We're just not trying to get you dollar. Kind of idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One of the other things is repairs. Talked about here. Why can't I sell it as is? The bottom one, which we're getting a lot right now in this market. There's gonna be people, they'll put offers in as is, and they'll start gonna ask for repairs. It's happening. That's what's happening. We'll buy it as is. Go through the inspections, or the appraiser is going to come back through and say, hey, we need to do these. If you know them, you get used to seeing them and what you're looking for, get your buyers to do them up front, because it's amazing, especially when we get back to a normal market and we're not getting this as is stuff and taking the house. Give me the house. I'll waive all inspections, everything. We're going to get into negotiating repairs more than we are now. And it's amazing that every buyer and every buyer's agent thinks every repair, no matter what it is, starts at $1,000 and usually goes between $1,000 to $5,000 for each repair. Oh, that's $5,000. Carpet's $5,000. Carpet's $10,000. It's amazing how it happens that way. When we know if we get bids up front, it's going to cost $1,500 to do that $5,000 they're asking for. Because when you start seeing credits, people asking for credits, they usually do them in $5,000 increments. You never see, oh, I'll take $750 credit. No, they want $5,000, $10,000 carpets and stuff like that. If you can convince them we can get it done up front for less, you're saving them money. That goes back to the fiduciary. You need to be a steward of their money too. Let's see where we at. Page 16, number 2, market a listing. Anybody got questions about staging? Sorry, now that I got away from that. Like I said, I'm a hyperactive squirrel, so I go all over the place sometimes. All right, no staging questions. Good. Okay, page 16, marketing the listing. This is the fun part. This is what I enjoy. Helen here on page 16, they list a 14-step marketing plan. Price the home competitively. Advise sellers on how to attract buyers by showing their home the best possible light. Staging, photos, all that kind of stuff. For sale sign on the property out front for people driving by. Sometimes you'll get people that don't want signs out front. Malala listing that I just was talking about with Good View, we didn't have a sign out front. She is a well-known figure around the country, and she didn't want people to know her house was for sale up in that area. So it's just, life happens. Responding to all buyer inquiries immediately, that's part of marketing, and you're going to try to turn those buyers, people calling in about stuff. Facebook, I heard somebody they've been running ads, getting leads. Turn to those quick as you can, because they are not only on your website. I hope that's not a bubble burst to anybody, but they are on 5, 6, 7 different websites. And so if you are the last one to call them, you're going to be the last one to get a chance at them. Home internet presence. Keller Williams does a great job for us for getting on the internet. Once you put it get into Keller Williams, it goes out and syndicates out to over 500 websites around the country and the world. So they help us out with that. Your own website, KW national sites, the MLS, if you have any, places you can post it or share it, I mean, that's part of what you need to be doing. We have a system where we send to our sellers also, so they can share it out, because they can help us get that bigger reach. What does that bigger reach do? It gets us more leads. What is it? This is number what, 6 class? Okay. Who has told you guys the real secret of real estate? It's not selling houses. Your job is not to sell houses. Your job is to lead generate. Hope nobody does, hate to burst the bubble, but that is your job, is to lead generate. And if everything works out right, when you're done lead generating, you've done it well, you'll find some people to sell houses. But your real job is to create leads and find buyers and sellers. KW create flyers. We don't do flyers, but we do a poly sign, a plastic sign that we put on the post. So 1, it always looks nice, but 2, we don't have to keep filling that box. Just listed postcards in neighborhood, target marketing. I know RMLS and Willamette Valley MLS, they have reverse prospecting. Every time we have a new listing hits the market, we go to the reverse prospecting section of the MLS, and it'll tell us every agent that has a listing search set up that matches that house. And we send out an email blast to all them, let them know it's on the market. MLS tours. I don't know, in everybody's areas, I know the Willamette Valley, we don't do broker tours anymore. Anybody else still doing broker tours in the other areas? No.
Not right now.
I haven't heard anybody doing them, but yeah, we open house schedule. Open house is great. Back before COVID, we did open houses all the time. Since COVID, we've really scaled back, and that slowed up some of our numbers for last year because we weren't doing 2 to 3 open houses a month like we normally do. We do a large mega open houses that we start a week in advance, and we start prepping it and getting the word out there and putting out signs and all that kind of good stuff. And so target active buyers in the database, provide seller with weekly updates. 14 is very important for not only that listing but any other potential future clients. Because one of the biggest complaints about real estate agents when it comes to listing homes is they put the sign in the yard, we never heard from them. Unless an offer came in or it was like 2 or 3 days before the listing expired. So communicate. One of the things we do is I send out a weekly email every Monday morning to every one of our listings that tells them how many showings we had in the week. It tells them how many houses are within $5,000 of their house, what the average price point is in their area. It also tells them all the feedback I've gotten from all the showings, and I just go through and I copy and paste whatever the agent says. It's not my job to filter that. They need to hear the truth. I also list every marketing thing we've done that week. Plus I give my comments on what's going on with the house. On top of that, my admin is my wife, who runs the ops manager for our team. She calls them once a week at the end of the week and checks in on them. And her is more of a client care call than a data-driven call like mine, or data-driven email like mine. Hers is a client care. How's it going? How you doing? Any agents that showed the house, were there any problems? Anything we need to address? And all those kind of things. So anybody got any other marketing ideas? I can sit here and talk marketing all day. So we got a few more pages we got to go through. No marketing ideas? Nobody's got any brilliant ideas they want to throw out to the group?
Can I ask you a quick question?
You can ask me lots of questions. I'll answer them all.
Great. So just going back to the reverse prospecting through the RMLS, when
Yep.
you send off an email blast to those agents that are looking at the property, that's what you said,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
What kind of email, like what content is in that email? Is it
It's
just
already
about the
templated
house?
for you.
What?
RMLS, it's already templated in the RMLS for you.
Oh,
You
that's
just
cool. Okay.
click on the people, click on everybody that it matches, email, and it's already, hey, your client, I don't remember the exact wording, but your client you have set up a search for a client that matches one of our listings. Here's a link to that listing, something like that.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. Thank you.
And we check that that's one of the things we do every Monday morning on all of our listings. Because you start seeing the same names over and over again, because 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the work. So you start seeing the same ones over and over again, same people. But if there's new people on there, I'll send it to them. If it's the same people that have been on there, I don't resend it to them, but I check every Monday to see if there's any new ones. On Willamette Valley, we're part of both Willamette Valley and RMLS. So if we're, depending on where the listing's at, or if it's in both, we'll do that. And that's part of our value proposition too, is we do all these things. If you lay out this list, when you go on, or somebody was working on their listing presentation, you go out and lay out this list, these are all the things I'm going to do. And then you do them. Not many agents are doing that. Most agents are walking in with a little CMA about this thick with like 3 or 4 comps and the net sheet and say, I'll list your house. This is what I'm going to, this is how much I can get for it. But they don't tell how they're going to do it. Set yourself apart. Be different. Not in a weird way, but to be different. If you want to be different in a weird way too, go ahead. That's your venture. We're all independent contractors. Do as you like. Any other questions? Anybody else want to know
I have
anything?
a question.
Sure.
So questions. I know you talk very fast. I have a difficulty understanding that, following everything. I apologize.
Okay. No.
And so for, you said, I never done listing yet, so I'm listening really carefully. If you do like listing presentation, you list in a house and you did the CMA, and then to set it apart from other agent. So can you give me an idea what else I need to do to be able to stand out?
When I go into a listing, I don't have it, it's in my bag. I carry it with me all the time. I have actually, it's a listing presentation that is bound, and it's been not plastic. It's got a cover. It's all covered. Can't think of the term right now, but so I can reuse it. And it lists. There you go. And I sit down and we go over that. I'll tour the house. I walk around the house and I'm like, take my notes. Pretty much my notes are, as I have a sheet that gives all the detail I need for the MLS for all the data entry. And I'm just filling that out as we walk. So I have that information. So when we go, I bring it back to my wife, she can fill out the data entry sheet of the MLS. But we take the tour around the house. I look for things. I try to notice things. I don't look at colors and counters and cabinets. I'm looking for cracks. I'm looking for destruction. I'm looking for things that need fixed, things that are going to affect the price. I mean, if there's an odd wall that's, you know, they have a 100 green wall on one side and 3 pink walls, we're going to talk about that. But beyond that, I'm looking for the stuff that needs repair and fix. It's going to affect value, cracks in floors, things like that. Then we sit down and I pull out this pamphlet, this 10 pages long, and I flip through it and I explain what we will do for them on those 10 pages and why they are going to pay us what we're asking for. And it's as simple as, this is what my averages are. This is what the market averages are. This is what the average, you know, for price, days on market. And just like anything else, all those numbers we can construe or by the question we're asking, whether ours are better than the market. I hope that made sense. I mean, my days on market is less than the market average. My price point is lower than the average price, or it's higher than the average price point when it comes to selling. So I use those numbers and say, look, we get it done quicker, we get it done for more money. And like I said, it goes into more detail, and then we said, these are the things we're gonna do. And there's more pages that show what we're gonna do to market. And then we have our guarantees. We have several guarantees we make. I guarantee that if for some reason this doesn't work between the two of us, I'll rip up the contract as long as you give me 24 hours to fix it. Things like that.
I'm sorry, do you have any recommendations for what to put for that listing presentation for agents that don't have any history to list? Like we're brand new, we've never done any listing before, and you know, we don't have any stats on how we can help them. Do you know what we would put in instead, or just leave it blank?
Use your office. Use your office stats. The combined whole, you know, my market center, this is, you know, I belong to this market center and this is what we do.
I would just make a suggestion on that. And something that I like to do is, because I'm part of the PC training program, I like to use that to my advantage. Like with my listing that I just did, my first one, I made it super clear that like, oh, I'm in this awesome PC coaching program through my, you know, office. I can ask questions day and night. You know, I get all this extra I get all this extra education. I'm on top of the ball and I'm new, but that's what's great is that, you know, like I'm learning, but I also have someone there to answer all my questions. And if you feel like you have questions that I cannot answer, I will get you the answers and get them for you. And I feel like people really like that. It's like they're double covered almost. They get, you know, like a sense of like confidence with that. So I don't know, but for my listing, my sellers like love the idea that, you know, if I can't provide that answer for you, I will get it for you and I'll get back to you on that. And just the fact that I had someone kind of like walking me through it as well, knowing that they had that trust in me, but also because I had backup was helpful.
Very much so. When I started, I used the I'm hungry. The old, you know, agents have been around, these guys have been around for 10, 15 years. They're not as hungry as I am. You know, I want to make this work. I want to get this done for you because I need to build my reputation. And I tell people that now I fully believe real estate is a reputation business. I mean, so that's, to me, no check, no commission is worth my reputation because that's how I get most of my business. And actually, I was going to show you, actually, I do have, here it is. I have an electronic file of it. This is our listing presentation. This is all stats compared to the market. Whoops. Kind of how the selling process, how it works. Some people, one of the things, I mean, it's harder for you guys to talk about, but one of the things I tell people is you do this once every 7 to 10 years. I do this, you know, 50, 60 times a year. So so you have to explain the process to them, a lot of people. And so make sure you know that. Like I said, this is on that flip chart I use. This is the flip chart I use. I'm not all in it. I mean, it's just commission, showability, talk about negotiation process. We talk about photos and staging and pre-owned, our certified pre-owned program for if you want to list for 7%, we'll pay for inspections and everything ahead of time.
Will you be able to like email us kind of like that thing? Because I'm not trying to copy it, but I just want to have an idea of what I need to know because there's a lot of things I'm missing in. Like I don't know all the process and stuff yet to fully explain. So there will be a good resources for me or myself or any other agents to kind of go through. So if you can email us, it would be highly appreciated.
I'll send it tomorrow. Mara's got a bunch of my stuff that she shares, so I'll send it to her. She'll share it out to you guys. This talks about staging.
Cool.
And it talks, somebody talked about the bank account. I mean, the difference between photos. I mean, you can see why professional, why not. Just a little, the average agent spends about $150 per listings. We average about $1,400 a month per listing that we spend. And that's, like I talked about before, the numbers can be construed different ways. That's counting websites that we pay for, my database, all that kind of stuff too in that 1,400. The 105 is a national average. So pictures of our website, where everything goes out social media wise. So some of our signage. So yeah, open houses, which we're not doing. I'll flip through this really quick because you guys are gonna get a copy, but so that's kind of it. We got one that looks almost just like it for buyers too, that my buyer's agent uses.
What was that first page? Can I just see the first page if you don't mind? It was,
First page?
I was just wondering, I'm sorry, no, the second page. It was going through the process.
Oh, the process, okay.
I just want to see, yeah, that little.
That's they're there.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like a lot of the you can get that from a title company. A lot of that escrow companies include that in their packet, you know, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was a coaching program I belong to. We get all this information from. Nice. So, but yeah, I mean, it's out there. You'll get a copy. You guys will get a copy of this.
Thank you.
I got no problem with that. I'm a sharer. Sharing's caring, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, so yeah, the goal is to stand apart. So, so communication with sellers, marketing the listing here, it talks about through page 22 and let's see, 15, 16, 17, page 17, marketing action steps. Talks about pricing. Who here do you think pricing is part of the staging?
Of course.
Yeah.
Part of the what? Staging?
Is the pricing part of the staging?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Because I mean, you have to put a product out there at a reasonable price that people are going to want to look at. I mean, I could take a 3.2 1,400 square foot house and I could stage it, make it all pretty, but if I put $1 million price tag on it, then I mean, that's what the people are going to see, and nobody's going to look at it. So pricing is part of it. Signage, we're pretty good on. We do our own custom signs. We have the Keller Williams generic signs you can use. You need to be careful with signage when you go custom. Everything has to be approved through your PD, because there will people. Not so much anymore. When I started well, almost 15 years ago or 14 years ago. Keller Williams, we were getting turned in to the real estate board about our signs all the time, because there was no EXP, there was no of these other ones that have branded to themselves. And so like all Caldwell and Remax and all those agents, they were turning us in a lot in Oregon for our branded signs. Well, now that there's some more big national brands coming in that do allow their agents to brand themselves, you're not seeing that as much, but make sure your signage is good. It's noticeable. If you saw mine, it stands out. It's black, it's red, it's big. It actually is too big for the city of Salem sign code, but I've never been called on it. It's 3 feet this way by 2 feet this way, whereas the most signs are. So it really stands out. Staging images, we've already talked about all that. Buyer profile, kind of, you'll start to learn as you go along what buyers are going to be interested in certain homes. Right now, it's everything's a little wanky, but I mean, you knew, like, you know, a 3,000 square foot house is probably not going to be a first time home buyer. So you kind of got to gear everything towards that, what you're looking for. You want to make it stand out to those people. Let's see, page 18, hold an effective open house. Who knows the key to an effective open house?
Enough advertisement to get people there.
Pre-planning, advertising, signs. If you show up day of open house, throw the sign in the yard, say, I'm going to do this, unless you're in a market like this, you're wasting 2 to 3 hours of yours and your seller's life. Nobody will show up. And I've sat at open houses when nobody showed up. It's no fun. It is not. 3 hours of sitting there playing on your phone sounds like a good idea, but no. Plan ahead. Put it out there in the MLS early. There's sections for all of us open houses. Start advertising it on Facebook and all the social media and Craigslist or what, everywhere you want to advertise. Start putting it out there a week ahead of time. We start on Monday for a Sunday open house. And we're putting more and more out there every day as we go. We're updating ads. We're putting more information out there. Try to build it up. I mean, you want this to be a big thing. Put the open house directionals out 2 or 3 days early. We put them out on Friday. So put a sign in the yard says when it's open. Open Sunday from 1 to 4, noon to 3, whatever you're gonna, so that when they follow those signs and they see it, they know they can't get into it. They got to come back. So they're not bugging the sellers, but they know when it's open. What is our job at open houses as real estate agents?
The lead generate.
Lead generate. Houses very rarely sell at an open house. Right now with lack of inventory, yeah, it's happening. But in general, you're not selling that house at an open house. But you are finding buyer leads. When people come in, I mean, we're lead generating from them. First thing one of the first things you find out is they have an agent. They come in, great. Look at, you live in the neighborhood or are you out looking for a home? Oh, we're out looking for a home. Great, you have an agent. Yes, we do. What's that agent? Oh, what's the agent's name? I'll follow up with them and let them know you were here. If they can't come up with a name, they don't have an agent. In town, in here in Salem area, if they say Gladys Blum, who's the #1 agent in the town, or usually they're probably lying just because they don't want me to bug them. But yeah, you got to follow up with them, start asking them questions, find out information about the house. We have 3 different forms of way for them to sign in at our house. We have open houses. We have a pedestal with an iPad in it that they can fill out as they walk in. We hand them a survey to give back to just for information to give back to the seller about this open house and how they felt about it. At the bottom, it has a drawing. Then there's a plain old sign-in sheet that we asked them to sign in on. This day and age, she already told you my background. Don't do open houses alone. It's never a good idea. There's just too many crazy people out there anymore. It's face to face. People are coming to you. Generally, they want to buy or sell. If you get neighbors, they're coming to look because they're wondering what things are selling for in their neighborhood. Yeah, we live 3 doors down. Great. I'd love to do a CMA on your property for you and let you know what it's worth in this market. Are you thinking about selling? Here's the video for effective open house. Let's see, which one is this? There we go. All right, quick video here. Am I doing this right? Probably not. That's not working. Okay. Oh, it's Chris. Hi. Hey, Chris. Who doesn't know who Chris is? Everybody know Chris? You should all know Chris. He owns all of our offices.
I don't know that version of Chris.
Oh, this is the Chris I know. This is old Chris. Okay, why is it not making a sound? All right, let's see. This is where my technology issues come up. Try that one. All right, well, it was a good video, I thought. Chris teaches this class every year at family reunion. Okay, we're skipping the video. I don't know why I won't play. Dang it.
I'm pretty sure it's in the Zoom settings. You have to say use system sound.
Oh, okay. There we go. We can do that. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Where Zoom settings. I don't even know how to get back to that. Let's see. Stop sharing screen. Zoom setting. Sorry, I warned you guys ahead of time about this. No. I'm not seeing that. Pause recorder, we're not doing that. Share screen. Let's try this. Save the system.
Audio settings on your microphone symbol at the bottom left-hand corner.
Okay.
An up arrow.
All right, let's see. So what do we, audio settings? Haha. Well, I just got really loud in my ears. You should give us more training on this. General. Okay, I'm not going to waste your guys' time. Pretty much, Chris is telling you what we do because I follow Chris. So plan ahead. You want to ask a lot of questions when people are coming in. That's an effective open house. You want to find out where they're motivated, what they are, like I said, are they neighbors? Chris is the one I got from originally that I asked him, okay, once they say, oh, I have an agent, great, who's your agent? I'd love to follow up with them. If they don't come up with an answer, or if they give an obvious answer, or whoever's the biggest person in your area, they probably don't have an agent. One of the other things you can do is, if at your open house, if you have a list of similar homes to that one that are on the market.
So if you
then
catch
you could
them,
start talking to them about that. What was it? Somebody was.
Oh, I was asking. So if you catch somebody in a little lie like that, I mean, how do you call them out on it without offending them?
I don't really call them out, but I just I will keep talking to them and trying to get more information out of them. Whereas if they say I have an agent, great. Who's your agent? You know, my agent, Colleen Benson. Okay, great. All right.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to give you more information. If they're kind of like, they're struggling to come up with a name because they don't really have one, then I start asking more questions and pushing a little deeper into, you know, their interest and things like that. But if they pop off an agent's name right away that I know in town, or that I know the name, okay, great. Here's a little survey, fill it out. Please look around. Let me know if you have any questions, and just kind of let them do their thing. So if you have those other houses, Chris, what he used to do is he would, as soon as the open house was over, he'd make appointments for after that to go show those other houses he brought with him to anybody that wanted to look at them. So if you have 3 or 4 houses that match that one in the area, he would set appointments for right after that, the open house, and go show. Any other people with any other things they've used in the past, or any thoughts or questions about open houses? So the key is just preparing early. Don't plan on showing up the day of and doing it. It's a waste of time, and you don't want to do that. Anybody doing them right now?
No, not enough.
No, nobody doing open houses at all? I know some people are still, but we have chose not to. During
I have
all
a
this.
question.
Yeah.
So as far as the open house, so it's like you said there's a survey about the forms. How do you get it? How do I get it from? Do they, I mean, the office has it, or any form that we have to make it?
I just made them up, and it's 3 real. The one we use has 4 basic questions. Scale of 1 to 10, how was the inside? Or 1 to 5. Scale of 1 to 5, how was the inside? Scale of 1 to 5, how was the outside? What did you like about the house? What did you not like about the house? That's all it says. It's not even so much the survey, it's the underneath part that says, if you would like to enter our drawing, fill out this information below, and you could enter to win. You know, we have like 4 different gift cards you could enter or win. And guess what? Everybody that fills one out wins a gift card, and they get a call from me. So it's amazing how that works. Everybody's a winner. And it's like, I think it's $10 gift cards to like Starbucks, Jamba Juice. I let my daughter pick. My daughter filled it out and made it for me. She's my admin runner. She's 17. I said, here, pick things that people want gift cards for. So she did it. But yeah, so things like that. And it's just real simple. We got a little clipboard there. We got the little clipboards. They're only, they're so big, and we have pins attached to them by ribbon, so they can't lose the pins. And we've been doing that for a couple of years, and I think I've only lost 1 clipboard. Somebody walked away with it one time. So, but we've got a lot of leads, a lot of names. We've sold houses to people off them. So I'll trade 1 clipboard for that. We already talked about that. We talked about that. Said, if you got any other questions outside of all this stuff, I've been doing this while. I'm an open book. I'll tell you whatever I think. Sometimes to my detriment, but I'll tell you. Page 19, get the word out. We talked about that. Door knocking. We're big into door knocking when things weren't like they are now. We'll knock a neighborhood before an open house. We'll go, depending on when we're having the open house, usually we try to do it the day before. But if not, we'll go day of. And I'm not above. I'll go knock on doors, and if, talk to the people, let them, and it's real simple. We're not selling at that time. We have a basic flyer that doesn't have the price on it. And all we're doing is, hey, we're having an open house at such and such street. We'd love for you to stop by and give them a flyer. A lot of times they'll call me back asking about price and other questions about the market and things like that. But I'm just inviting them. Technically, that's not a solicitation. So I'm just inviting them to open house. So you can knock the no soliciting signs. We don't, because I don't have time to sit there and argue with people. But
how much time do you give yourself to do that? Like if you're going to spend some time on the day before and you have to kind of work it into your schedule, you're a busy man. Do you say like 4 hours, 3 hours? Like, what does it look like?
I'll do 2 hours, 2 hours in. I'm only going to go 5 or 6 on each side and probably 10 or 15 across the street. I'm going to go to all the ones that can, from their house, can see the sign for the most part. If it's a real, like I had one neighborhood that we volunteered to do an open house for another agent in the office because I was talking and prospecting to 3 different houses in that neighborhood. So we did the open house and I knocked on every single one of their doors and talked to them and handed them a flyer. And I've listed and sold, that was a while back, I listed and sold 2 of those 3 since then. So it kind of depends. Generally we go 5 or 6 on each side and like I said, 10, 15 across the street just to get the word out. If mom answers the doors and they got little kids behind, I may throw in, and just so you know, we have cookies. I'm not above that. I'll say that.
If you
And so
I used to recruit people for a research project, and I would go to DHS involved families and kind of surprise, hi, would you like to be part of our research group, kind of at their doors. And I always had my business card attached to a little baggie of chocolates. Is it okay to do something like that? Is that considered coercion in any way?
No, you can do that. I would right now with everything going on, people aren't very keen on handing stuff back and forth with strangers. So, I mean, but yeah, no, you most certainly, like I said, we're giving them stuff, we're doing stuff, we're giving stuff away at open houses and stuff. And if you're not like, hey, here's this chocolate if you list with me, no, you can't do that. But if you're like, hey, I'm having an open house or I'm doing this here, I mean, they're called pop buys. You're allowed to do that.
Thank you.
Like I said, we don't do the little cookies. We do like the Safeway, the big ones. So I always point that out too to the little kids. Hey, we got big cookies if you want one. And so then the next thing you know, the mom shows up with the kids or the dad shows up with the kids. And,
How about if you see the sign like a no soliciting sign, still you would knock the door and tell that?
I personally do not, because I don't have time to sit there and argue with them. The way we do it, we're not soliciting, we're not selling anything, we're not doing anything like that. And that's truly what it is. You're not allowed to sell to them. That's what no soliciting means. I'm inviting them to my open house for cookies and coffee. We have coffee there all the time too. We have a Keurig that we bring for individual cups of coffee if people want them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just as far as like, so I've heard you speak once before, and I really love how like personable you are and how you just have things to give, because that really does create connection. But for a person who's just starting out, who like, I don't even know what I can afford or what is a tax write-off or what's not a tax write-off, how does a person go about figuring that stuff out so we don't just end up like spending money that either we can't get back or like wasn't maybe the right route to take?
When it comes to like things like tax stuff, find an account. You're a business owner now, find an account. You should all have an account. Should all know, if you're doing this, you shouldn't be doing QuickBooks or whatever TurboTax on your own. Find an account. They're not, I mean, we have a corporation and we have several things within our corporation, and it costs me like $1,400, $1,500 a year to get my taxes done. As a new started out agent, it's only going to cost you a few $100s, and it's a write-off too to have them do it, but they'll keep you out of, tax jail and all that good stuff, which is important. When it comes to spending money, it's harder right now with everything locked down. I mean, we're opening up slowly now, so that's good. But door knocking, open houses, that's all what I did to start. I would open houses. I'd volunteer. If we got any Eugene people down there, I'm buddies with Ben Mondragon. Him and I are buddies. And he had houses up here that, because I started in February of 07. The market tanked in the middle of 08. So there was nothing moving. We had 22 months of inventory here in Salem. So if that tells you anything, right now we have 1.38 months of inventory. Ben had a builder up here that he had built some houses that were sitting, and I'd sit at them every weekend and open houses. I'd knock the neighborhood. I almost became family with some of those neighbors. I knocked their door so many times around that open house. And it's cheap, it's free. It's not always the fun, it's not always the best for a Saturday or a Sunday, but I mean, if you're starting to build, start door knocking once we can and feels a little safer. And if you're comfortable with doing it, you may get yelled at a little more than normal. You do get yelled at once in a while, but Zig Ziglar has a line that I have taped right in front of my computer at my desk. Some will, some won't. Who cares? Next. If you remember that. And it's not, I heard a line the other day that was pretty good that I thought I liked. It said, everybody is scared of what the outcome is going to be, not the process. Do the process and don't care about the outcome. Make the phone calls. Who cares what people are going to say to you or what they're going to do? Make the phone calls. Do the process. Circle calling, circle prospecting. Steal listings from people in the office to go do stuff too. Ask them, but go find a listing that you like. Here's my little speech on open houses when they start going. Do not, I'm sure you all have Facebook pages within your offices, private ones you guys talk about stuff on. We have one, I'm sure most offices do. Don't just randomly throw up there, I'm available for an open house, what do you have? I'm gonna give you the ones that I don't wanna hold open. They may not be the best ones, but they probably should be held open. I just don't want to do them. So I'll give them to you if you're asking. Go into the MLS. Every MLS has a way to search by your office listings. Find a house you want to hold open. and hold that one open. Find the area, the price point, everything you want, and go to an agent. You come to me and ask me, can I hold this house open? Yeah, I'll probably let you hold it open if you ask specifically for that house. Some of the other things, do it on a weekday. If it's near schools, we had one house that we held open every day from 3 to 5 p.m. because there was 4 schools you could see from the house. High school, junior high, and 2 grade schools. You could literally see them all from this house. And so we held it open every day from 3 to 5. So, I mean, so that's where I would start. Facebook post costs. Craigslist is free. Craigslist was a big thing when I started. We generated thousands of leads through Craigslist, a bunch of us in Keller Williams through a little program we were doing. Then I don't know if you've ever posted a house for sale on Craigslist. You have the first screen that you click on that says that this is a house for sale. And then you have a second screen, you have to choose for sale by owner or an agent. And then you have a third screen that says all the requirements it has to be. Yeah, I caused that. I got to cease and desist order from Craigslist not to post there because we were posting so much. But I mean, there's little things like that. Does that help? Hope that helped. Is that what you're looking for? Whoever was asking.
Yeah, so I couldn't find my unmute.
Oh, you're
Yes,
good.
just helpful tips on how to do things that are maybe less costly to start out, and then yeah, getting connected to an accountant or someone just to help out, so that we know where we're at with our budget.
Does everybody in your world, I talked about it like this. So say you were going to move tomorrow and you called up everybody you know and invited them to, or asked them to come help you move. Do all the people that would actually show up, they know you're in real estate? Because those people, the ones that would actually show up to help you move, should know you're in real estate. Every single one of you. Your Allied Resources, those are the people that'll go to bat for you because, like I said, they'll show up whether you're offering pizza or not. They're going to show up and help you. So make sure they know you're in real estate. I have one that she's referred. I've sold them 3 houses and she's referred me probably 15, 20 people over the year. And not just referred, but referred and we closed on them. I've known her for years, good friend. So things like that.
Something I'm doing that's free for you, and you may be already doing it, but Facebook birthdays or anniversaries if you want. Instead of just posting on their page, private message them. It does 2 things. One, it makes you see if they actually looked at it, so they feel more obligated to respond. But 2, if they do respond, your feed shows up more in their feed on their normal Facebook page. So you kind of get a double whammy for that. So if you are posting any advertisement for real estate or, connected to your real estate page on Facebook, you kind of get a free blast out for them responding to your message. And all you're literally doing is saying, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day celebrating. How are things going for you? Especially right now, people are very receptive to share how things are doing. So it's just one thing. It takes you literally 3 seconds to post on their little message. And usually by the end of the day, I get some kind of response. Sometimes I continue that conversation. Sometimes it's literally just like, thanks, bye. So, but again, as he said, don't care about the result, just do the process.
Exactly. I'll go a little further. We search every day. Everybody on my team, we search our Facebook for birthdays. And if we don't have them already in our database, we put them in our database from Facebook. And then if there's somebody we know and they're not in our database and it's their birthday, we'll message them and say, hey, you know what, it's your birthday. What's your address? We'd love to send you a card. And so then we get their name, we got their address, and we send them a card. Now, fast forward 1 year. We have reminders in our database a week before to send them a handwritten thank you card or birthday card. And then the day of their birthday, almost all of them, I use, I don't know if you guys heard of Slide Dial. It's a free app you can use on your phone, and it'll just go directly to their voice message. And on the birthday, I call them using Slide Dial, and I tell them, oh, sorry you didn't pick up. I was going to sing you happy birthday if you did. And I leave that message. Almost every one of them call me back. I don't sing them happy birthday. I tell them it's a one-time shot, but they almost always call me back. So they're initiating the conversation. They're calling back. So they get those several touches. But yeah, it all initiates from Facebook if we don't already have it. Just like, I didn't see his name. Sorry, I didn't see your name there. But just like he said, same thing. So that's all free for the most part. I mean, we pay for the cards. Amazon is the greatest thing. I bought like 400 cards for like $10. Birthday cards, they're little cheap birthday cards, but they're getting them. When I first started out, what I did was I went to Walmart, I went to the clearance aisle, and I found thank you cards. They were like $1 for like 10 in a box. I bought every box they had. They had like 5 boxes on clearance. And those were my thank you cards for the first several months when I started real estate. It doesn't have to be fancy. Everything now we have is branded and everything, but it's been, it's been years down the road. But to start out with, just little gestures like that, people don't do that now. One of the biggest things we get responses from, we sell a house, whether it's our buyer or it's an orphan buyer, somebody that we call them orphan buyers that bought our listing. We mail them a return address stamp with their name and their new address on it. Costs us $7. With shipping to their house, it costs us like $9.50. You wouldn't believe how many people call us and thank us for those. Cheap little thing, little, address stamp kind of. And I heard it somewhere. I thought that was kind of a cute idea. And we get so many people calling and thanking us and for it. And that thing's gonna last for years. And every time they see it, guess who they're gonna think of? So come up with little things. We don't do big when it comes to like closing gifts. Nothing we do is big and fancy, but we give throughout the year. If I see they're having a kid or if I see their kids have birthdays, I'll send them presents on Amazon, $10, $15 present. I'll do all sorts of stuff. We do in a normal year, we do 4 events, client appreciation events. We do pictures in the park. We hire a photographer, same one that does our listings. And she comes out and takes photos, family photos for half an hour increments of them. So we pay for that. They have to pay for the photos if they want them later, but we pay for the sit down. We do pies like everybody else. We do pies. We do a movie night. And then we usually do something in the summer. We were working on going to do Barks and Brew this last year. We were going to do a fundraiser for the local Humane Society, but with COVID and everything, that kind of went out the window. So we're hoping to maybe do that this year, to where we know a couple of people that own breweries in the Salem area, and we were going to close the brewery down for a day and do fundraisers for the Humane Society, Barks and Brews, invite all of our clients. I do little things like, we have a tap house down the street from my house. I'll put on my Facebook, hey, I'll be at the tap house. First 10 people to come down, I'll fill your growler. Just little things like that. Same thing at coffee shops. That's a great one. Say, hey, it'll cost you, it's amazing. It doesn't cost as much as you think. You go to a coffee shop, you go down there and you put out there to the world. If you show up at Starbucks, or we have Urban Grange, which is a local coffee shop friend of mine owns, and we'll say, I'm going to be here for the next 2 hours. If you want to come down, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. And I'll give him, Randy, who owns it, I'll give him my credit card and say, hey, whoever comes in for the next 2 hours, put it on my card. It's usually a couple $100. But then that's the thing. If they don't know why they're getting the free coffee, he points to me and tells them why. When they come over and talk to me, thank me. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be big and glorious and fancy. Nothing does. I think the personal is better. So, let's see. Page 19, leveraging the internet. We kind of talked about that. It kind of, ran out of water. Keller Williams does that all for us. So, I mean, we don't have to worry about that too much. It goes out to all these different places, all the internet websites. Social media, I can't talk, I pay a company that does it. Nothing you see on my business page usually is, very rare is it me or anybody. It's usually the company I pay. But they post everything for us. After every sale, we send them a little blurb about the clients, and they'll put a thing up about them. Page 20. Oh, sorry. Yep.
Sorry, who do you hire to do that?
It's a local company here in Salem. It's called Project LTD.
Thank you.
We were in pretty cheap with them because we were their first clients. The ladies that started it, I was one of their husbands I'm friends with. So they've offered to do us for us. And this has been a couple of years now. We've been working with them, and they, like I said, if you go to our Instagram, or I guess we have a Twitter, I think, I'm told we do. Facebook, for the most part, they do everything on it. I hardly ever am posted on there, even though it looks like I am. It's not.
Do they do just your Facebook, or do they do any kind of IT
They-
stuff for you, or?
They just do Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I was doing it before, but I wasn't consistent, and I wanted consistent. So that's their job, is to keep it consistent. And then we feed them like listings and solds and things like that. Or if we have an idea that pops in our head, we send it to them and they make it happen as a post.
Awesome.
And there's companies all over the place that do that now. So you could easily find somebody if that's what you get to that point, that's what you want to do.
Do they do your Facebook ads also?
No, we run those Facebook ads directly ourselves. Most of my wife does. And so, because they will do some, they'll make them up and put them up there and we just boost them.
Got it.
A lot of the time. We use Listings to Leads, which is a very inexpensive. It's $29.99 a month.
What is it called?
Listings
Listings to lead?
Listings to Leads. That's where if you see listings that are put up that had text this number to get the information about the property, that's Listings to Leads. And you can do as many as you want, and it's $29.99 a month. They'll also have where you can directly put out Facebook ads from them onto your business page, and it includes that text. And that's one of our main, right now with everything going on, that's been one of our main lead gens, is just shooting out ads with that on it.
So they'll do it and then you'll handle the Facebook ads, or they can do the Facebook ads also, I guess.
They'll make the Facebook ads up and they'll put them on our Facebook page. We ended up usually are the ones that boost it so we can control the costs.
Yeah.
So we know what's being spent. They do all that other stuff for free, or not free, but from what we pay them monthly.
Right, listing to lead. What was the other name of the company that did the Facebook, Instagram, and all the other stuff? If you don't mind sharing?
Project LTD.
Project LTD. Okay, thank you.
Page 19, discuss social media. We've talked about that. Engaging with the people. So if you don't know how social media works, I didn't until they explained it to me, Project LTD. I mean, it's like you want it to be like a spider web. We don't want it to be a straight line like a rope. You want it as a spider web. You want everything overlapping with each other and connecting with each other, because that's where you're going to get more traction. So that's why we integrate our Facebook with our Instagram and our Twitter to where they're all seeing the same thing. And so when you put things out there, it just gets even farther. That's the best I can explain it to you.
I have a quick
probably,
question on that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. No.
So like I had recently kind of gotten rid of my social media for the most part. I have 2 little kids. The older I get, the more I just feel like I don't want my kids out there. I don't want, strangers like seeing my personal life. So I got a lot more private and really shut everything down. And then of course I'm back into a career where social media is basically free advertisement. So it's not really like a huge option. And as far as having like your personal page and how you have to have that to have your business page connected to it, like how do you manage that? Just because I guess like on your main page, I feel like you're going to leave it open, probably add a bunch of people that you normally wouldn't. And so you have to have a certain amount of personal stuff because it is personal, like picture of your family or so forth. But how do you find is best to manage that by keeping it like pretty private, just enough to get people to like go to your business page? If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm conveying myself correctly, but I don't want like the entire world viewing pictures of my kids that I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't post on my personal page very often. And usually it's a share from something else. I mean, I'll throw out some things here and there. I mean, I got a big one I'm waiting. You'll all be the first to hear. We found out on Sunday I'm going to be a grandpa. So
congratulations.
My oldest son and his wife are having a kid. So I haven't been able to put that out there yet because she hasn't told everybody yet. But it's so. I mean, I will put that out there. But for the most part, I put things I think are funny. I mean, that's about all I use my Facebook page for. Every once in a while, I'll do a shout out to something, or I'll support something. But for the most part, I try not to do. I definitely don't get involved in the political world and all that stuff going on, especially on Facebook. I mean, I'm not big into it anyway, but especially on social media, that's a way to doom yourself these days. So I'm hardly ever on it. I have it, it's there. And sometimes even Project LTD will tell me to post something, tell me to share something because I haven't been on it in a while. They keep track of me and make sure I'm keeping it up and at least look like I'm still there and alive. But yeah, I just don't use it very often. My wife, same kind of way. I mean, I don't even have the app. I don't have like Facebook app on my phone.
A quick follow-up on that. If the goal is to get followers so that they watch your Facebook, do you have this built into your either listing presentation or your closing process where you say, oh, please friend us, please like us, please follow us? Is that part of your operation?
Yeah, some of it. Yeah, we send out likes and friend requests to them for our business page, and to like it. But that's also in the L2L. It's our listings to leads. It's called, they shorthand is L2L for it. There's a part of the marketing stuff it has in there. It sends an email to your client so they can share your Facebook page and your Facebook ad to their database, to their Facebook. And so, I mean, we don't have a huge Facebook page. I mean, it's right around 1,000. So, I mean, it's not, well, some of those. And Instagram, we're probably, I think last time I checked, we're at, I'll tell you right now. Come on. We're at like 439 followers, but they all interact. We don't have, 3,000 followers and we hear from 10. We hear from most of those people. And to me, that's more important in my thought pattern. Whether I'm right or wrong, I mean, by no means am I ever going to be an influencer. But I think the interaction is the important part, just not how many people are following you. And so that's kind of the way we look at it. If you're in an area where they have community websites or they have community Facebook pages, join those, get involved, start talking if you're into that. Your database, once again, send out, hey, here's our Facebook page, like it. Our big push this year is our goal is to get to 300 reviews on Google. So we have until June. That's our contest we're running on our team. Whoever gets the most 5-star reviews gets, I think it's $300 on our team. So we just started the first year. We only had like 6, and we're at 6 or 74, I think now. It is, oops. Oh, wrong button. Dang it. Yeah, we're at 74. So to me, that more people are looking on Google these days for reviews and stuff. It was Zillow for a longest time. It's kind of transitioned off that into more Google. So that's why we're working on Google right now.
Who did you go through to get your website? Do you use the KW site or do you use another like WordPress or something?
I have a KW site, but my website, the main website we use is run through my database, which is FirePoint. I've been with, I was eEdge. I don't know if any of you guys heard of eEdge or know of eEdge. It was before our KW. I was one of the beta testers for that. Prior to that, I had an Excel spreadsheet.
I love
And then I had that, the eEdge, and then I tried Top Producer for a while. We did Boomtown. I was part of a national expansion team for a while with Keller Williams, so we were on Boomtown with them. We stepped away from that. We had the smaller Boomtown platform. Then we had Lion Desk, and we've had FirePoint for a couple of years now, and I like FirePoint. The Lion Desk out of all of them was probably the best CRM that I dealt with, but it didn't have a front-facing website. So that was a pain, but FirePoint offers all that and it meets all of our needs. Communicate with sellers. We've talked about that. Talk to them. Don't get scared to talk to them about price reductions. Don't get scared to talk to them because nobody's looking at the house. Communicate with them. Let them know what's going on. You're going to, the old more flies with honey than, vinegar, but they're going to appreciate that. If you're like, hey, whether it be I've screwed up, I'm off on the price, we need to lower it, or people aren't showing up, this is what people are telling me, this is what I'm seeing, we need to make this adjustment. They want to sell the house. Don't be scared to talk to them about how to sell it. I see a lot of agents that like, well, we got to reduce the price. I don't know if I can talk to them about that. If they want to sell the house, they're going to want to talk to you about that. One of my other little tangents is if you have a buyer and they have a seller, and they want to buy the house and they want to sell the house, us as agents, don't complicate it and get in the way. Don't start interjecting your stuff in the middle of it. They want to sell, they want to buy, make it happen. As long as they agree to all the terms, don't be the cog, the broken cog in the wheel kind of idea, if that makes sense. You see that too many times where agents want to show how they want to be in charge. They want to show how smart they are. They want to, it doesn't matter. They want to sell, they want to buy, make it happen. Customer service, that's just, that is lacking these days. So if you do it, you're going to be way above everybody else. It says here on page 23, let's see, oh, move the screen now. There you go. Oh, whoops, what's wrong? Where's 23? 23, sorry, I got behind there. Customer service, under promise and over deliver. Do more than anybody else. One of the things we do is every time we get an accepted offer on our listing, or every time our buyer gets an accepted offer, we send them flowers. Congratulations. I know nobody else is doing that. We do little things like that. Just make this a good experience for them. Like I said, they're doing this once every 7 to 10 years. If you're on your game and you're doing things right, you should be doing this 30, 40 times a year once you guys are up and running. Help them through this. Make it fun. Make it easy. As easy as you can. One of the things I tell them is, our promise to them is we will make this the best, almost a 5-star white glove service we can. That's our goal in this whole process. But that's not to say things won't go wrong. This is real estate. People are involved. Things will go wrong. We're just promising that we will do everything we can to fix it and make it right as quickly as possible. Because this, like I said, this is real estate. People are involved. It gets messy at times. So, sorry, I'm gonna click up here. I see some chats. I hope you guys aren't asking me questions. Oh, there are. Okay. Certain people groups. You can make. Oh, okay. No, that was for me. Okay. Anybody got any questions as we go here? We're coming up towards the end here. They always yell at me because I get in early because I do talk fast. So.
I have a question that's kind of, it's on topic, but I have a duplex for sale. I mentioned way back at the beginning of this class, but they have both sides have tenants, and no way for me to state that. It's difficult scheduling viewings or showings, whatever we call them. I was thinking funeral when I say viewings, but anyway, that fun stuff that you talked about doing for a listing with, a singular client that is maybe vacant or they are the seller. How do you handle duplexes, especially in an environment right now where it's very difficult to kick tenants out? How do you sell that? How do you make that a positive spin?
Well, lucky for you, I work with a lot of investors and I've sold a lot of plexes over the years. Let's see. I make the renters my friend. I work on becoming friends with them more than I do the seller, because they're going to key to the door. I mean, you can give them 24-hour notice and say, we're coming in tough. That's life. But that's not going to get you very far very quick. So I try to make friends. I call them first thing when I list any kind of duplex. I get the renters information. I call them day one and let them know this is what's going on. And I made sure the seller's already contacted them. But I tell them, I need you to let me know if there's ever a problem with any agents or any buyers that show up at your front door, or agents, because I want to solve that. I don't want you to be put out by it. And I just kind of give them the little speech to start with and let them know that I'm here for them to make this. And so now the other side of that, with everything going on right now, your seller is probably going to have to be willing to give up some cash for the keys. As in, here's a month and a half's rent, please move. And that's just a fact of life right now. We had to do that. I had some sellers that lived in the UK, and they had a house that as soon as they got notice they were selling, they stopped paying the rent and said, hey, COVID moratorium, you can't kick us out. Got it sold, got it under contract, and he ended up having to give them a month and a half's rent, plus not take out the 3 late payments or the 3 non-payments off their record when they went for another place to get them out. It's not pleasant right now to get for that. In the past, it's been pretty easy, especially in our area up here in Salem. Is there's not a lot of duplexes, so investors are buying them from investors, and they're willing to keep the renters in place. If not, and I said in the past, we just put seller to evict prior to close. So there's no real great answer for that, but I mean, those are your two options right now. Make nice with them and convince them that this is a good thing for them. You're going to make, you know, if they're not in tip top shape, going, hey, I'll find you a guy that'll, you know, come through and fix these things up like they should be. You know, I mean, do whatever, you know, make nice with them. That's the key thing. And then when it comes time to sell, right now, whoever the seller is most likely going to have to, which they hate because they're all investors and they don't want to do that. But there's a chance they'll probably say, hey, here's a month's worth of rent for you to get out. And that was big back in 08. Banks were doing that, cash for keys all over the place for foreclosures. You know, if you leave now before we foreclose and you don't destroy the place, we'll give you, you know, $5,000. So hope that helps some. No padded answer. Be solution oriented. I heard some of you guys talking about it, and I really like to hear that as you're meeting with title people. Everybody that joins my team, even my wife, I took her and had her meet with our title rep. I had her meet with 2 lenders that we use, and just to explain the process to her or anybody, because I know the basics of their process, but they're going to be able to dig deeper, way deeper in each side than I can. And one, to get that interaction, but 2, to learn. So it's great that you guys are doing that. I like to hear that. Customer experience, once a week, twice a week. Yeah, let them know ahead of time. If you tell them you're going to call them once a week, call them once a week. If you tell them you're going to email them once a week, email them once. Whatever it is you say you're going to do, make sure you do it, because they won't forget. Let's see. Page 25 there, it says communication tips: be sincere, understanding, predictable, exponential, and responsive. I mean, this is your biggest chance for repeat business. If they talk about how great it is, I mean, we get posts all the time of people commenting on how great the experience was. They just at random on our Facebook page, and that helps generate, you know, positive. Says we're supposed to go over a listing presentation. That's kind of hard in our current situation. Well, that is pretty much all the information they gave me. What do you guys want to know about real estate? We're a little early. We're supposed an hour early, almost, or an hour and 20 minutes. We got to at least get it into the 3 o'clock hour here. We had a chat. Let's see if that was to me.
Sean, how many people are you talking to every day about real estate specifically?
About real estate, that varies. I just do listings is all I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mess with buyers at all anymore. My team does that. And so I'm talking on average, probably 10 to 15 people a day. So like I said, I am definitely wouldn't classify my business strategy as being a hunter, as in going out prospecting, you know, circle calling, all that kind of stuff. We are definitely gatherers. We get a lot of people that send us in referrals. I got one today from a past client so I was working with that. We just closed on, or just got 2 under escrow the other day that are both referrals from past clients. So, I mean, that's what a lot of our business. So I'm not on the phone a lot of texting, a lot of emailing. So I will most certainly tell you, I will never tell you to sit down and make 100 calls a day, because I don't think I've ever done that in one day. I've been through Bold like 6 times, and I've never even done that one day. So.
Well, what is the expectation for your time? Like, do you work all day, every day, 7 days a week, or are you like blocking out time to not be working? Because we're finding as a team that in just getting the process started, we're pretty much working constantly, and we don't know that we feel like we're getting anywhere quite yet, but we're hoping to. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a horrible example. I'll start out with that. When I started in real estate, I still worked my full-time job at the state for the Department of Corrections for the first 9 years I was in real estate. So I worked quite a bit those first 9 years. Since I built my team, I usually don't work afternoons, nights, or weekends. Especially weekends. I don't work Saturday or Sunday.
I'll do nights once in a while. I think I did all last year. We were doing, cause I'm on the ALC here in Salem office, and we were going over our last year's stuff, our last meeting. And I figured I probably worked nights 24 times and maybe 12 weekend days last year.
And do you have
But
any
it's taken a long
advice
time to
for-
get there. So it
Yeah,
didn't start
I would
off that
imagine.
way. That's why I said I'm not a very good example right now, but it took a while to get to that point.
And do you have any advice for husband-wife teams as far as like working dynamics or anything that you guys have worked out over time? It sounds like maybe you guys have a division of labor.
Yeah, we have completely two different roles. She got her license, my wife did, and tried real estate selling for a year and decided she did not like it. She was in direct sales for like 14 years before that, so we thought it would have been an easy transition. She doesn't mind the showing houses and doing that part. She does not like to negotiate. So she has since transitioned over to an operations manager. She runs the team for the most part. She keeps track of me. She keeps track of our buyer's agent. She keeps track of, we're working on hiring some more buyer's agents. She keeps track of our runner, and that's what she does. And she does most of the TC work and admin paperwork. I sell houses. We don't, even when we were, one thing that we did different than a lot of husband and wife teams is when we first started, even when she was selling, we did not do stuff together. We didn't go on listing appointments together. We didn't go on buyer appointments. We ran basically two separate businesses within that team dynamic.
Wow.
So, because it would, I mean, if she went to all my appointments and I went to all of her appointments, well, yeah, we'd work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But that gives us time off too, whether it be because our kids were littler then. I mean, our kids are all adults now, so it makes it a little easier. But yeah, I think the only time she would go on a listing appointment with me would be if it was somebody that she knew that I did not know, and then she'd go with me. Beyond that, no, we wouldn't. Yeah, and I think that's, to me, that was our key, is we just ran two separate businesses, basically, within one.
Awesome. Also, do you know John Aarons? You said you were in corrections for a long time.
John Aaron.
John Aarons, he's in Eugene, as in many, many years in corrections there. So I thought maybe you might know him.
No.
Anyway, thank you.
No. Any other questions? We got to burn some time. I'll get in trouble if I let you guys go before 3. It doesn't have to be about listings. I can tell you, what do you want to know about real estate? What do you got going on? I'm an open book.
Yeah, a question for me. So you said that you don't really do a whole lot of like cold calling and stuff like that, or like, I guess, direct prospecting. So how did you start out? How did you find your first clients? Were you just talking to people you knew and kind of snowballed from there? How'd that work for you?
I'm a talker. So my first year, I sold 2 houses. It was the same couple. They sold one and bought one. And it was a friend of ours. From there, because I got my license in February, so that was a long year. Luckily, I had another job, but the market was crashing at the middle of all that. Beyond that, what I started just getting the word out to people I know. And I talked about the Craigslist earlier. That's where I still got clients. I had to stop doing that in 2014. I'm still selling people homes from that are in my database. So that was a big thing, because Craigslist is free. If you have a listing, post to Craigslist. Our listings get posted to Craigslist every other day. Like, that's one of my admin, my daughter, who's our runner admin, that's one of her jobs, is every day she goes in or every other day, well, depending on the listing, every listing gets posted every other day. So every day she's posting new listings, the same listings to it over and over and again. And we get calls off those. We get emails. It's the same text writer is on that from the listings lead. So that's generating constant influx of stuff, and it's free. So I did open houses, a lot of open houses. I was determined not to take away from, if I was going to start this, I was determined not to take away from money from my other job or the family to do this. I was going to figure it out. And so even to this day, we have no credit cards. We have no contracts. Everything's run off debit cards. Everything's month to month. I set it up to where it is, I want to fold it up at the end of the month. I could, and it wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah, that's how I want to run mine as well.
So it was easier because I did have a full-time job for 9 years, but I could have left after 4 or 5. I just wanted to hit my 20-year mark with the state.
I have a question.
That was my wife.
Oh,
Honey, Kim. So they're all waving at you. Wrote me a note from our agent and gave me water. Okay, question. Sorry, go ahead. Got sidetracked there.
That's okay. How long did it take you to get a first commission?
I should know this because it's hanging on the check. Copy of the check's hanging on my wall in my office. I started in February and I got a check in August, if I remember right, July or August.
So
Funny thing is, that's the second biggest check I've ever gotten to.
So in general, does it take at least 6 months? You need to have that relationship first to be able to get selling the house, or
right. There's some people that know people right away. I mean, there's some people that have been talking. Thank you. There's some people that have been talking to people from while they were in school before this, and so they, you'll see on Facebook pages for real estate, we sold 5 homes in our first 6 months. I mean, so it's personally, the market was crashing, so it took me a little longer to get going. But I mean, I would generally think if you're consistently doing the work every day, like you should, you should be seeing a check by month 6, if not sooner.
Okay.
Abe Shreve, sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Abe Shreve, he is one of the top MAPS coaches in Keller Williams, and he told me one time that we have as real estate agents, we have 2 businesses. We have the morning business, which is your prospecting business, and your afternoon business, which is your real estate business, doesn't get to open unless your morning business opened up. And I tell people, I mean, I've had different people on my team, and I tell them all, I don't care when you prospect, as long as you're doing it, whichever form you're doing it as, whether it be following up on the leads we give you, whether it be following up in your database, your friends, your family, whatever. Because I sit down with everybody on my team once a week. We sit down and go over numbers. And those are their numbers. They're the ones that we set the goals at what they wanted to set them at. And my job is not to tell them they need to hit those numbers. My job is to hold them accountable to their goals. And so if they're not prospecting enough, I'm gonna tell them, you're not hitting your goals because you're telling me you've spent, 2 hours in the last week looking for business. You need to do more. And that's just, I mean, if you start doing the math, like in our area, you don't need a lot of sales to make a decent living in real estate. In the Salem area, your average commission check is $7,500. If you have 15, 20 deals in a year, you're making a decent living. I mean, you're not, driving a Maserati, but you're making a decent living. So, I mean, people see these big numbers that people throw out there, and one team in our office sold 177 homes. That's great. It's a big number, but you don't need, as an individual agent, you do 10, 15 homes. The average agent sells 4.5. You sell 10 homes, you're making, for fees and everything, you're making 75 grand. That's more than I was making at the state.
Then how many hours do you think is reasonable to be on a real estate per week?
My answer is different than my wife's. I mean, if I was starting out right now, I would be spending, per week, I'd be spending 40 plus hours easy. I'm a workaholic. I'm a driver. I'll keep going. She would like me not to work that much. And that's kind of where we're at now. I do other things. I mean, we obviously have, at this point, have other ventures, and our kids are adults and we're having grandkids and all that kind of stuff. But when I was first starting out, I was spending 12 hours a day because I was working 3 days for the state, 3 12s. I was spending another 12 hours a day the rest of the time trying to get this up and running. So it is a business that will reward you and how hard you work.
Right now, by COVID, I know when I'm walking to my house and area, there's nobody out there because people don't like walking as it used to be.
Yep.
But in that case, since I haven't done cold calling to for sale by owner or expire because I don't know how to do it, in that case, how would you suggest to build prospects since I have a zero sphere since I was from a different area?
I would go, what area are you from?
I was in Vegas.
Vegas, nice. That's
Yeah.
where my whole family lives. My dad lives in Henderson. My sister and her family live in North Vegas. Do you know people down in Vegas?
I do, but now since the COVID, they all got, some of them are furloughed and some of them having difficulty times. So it's like, even if I asked them, they were kind of like very skeptical as far as it being homes, being talking in regards to that.
Yeah. One of the things I've told people before, and we had one agent that was very successful at it. He's from Santa Monica area. He came up to Oregon State, went to Oregon State. He stayed here and all his friends left, and he really knew nobody once they all graduated. So he was struggling, and I told him, "Do you know anybody in Santa Monica?" He goes, "Yeah, I know. I grew up there. I know a lot of people." I said, "Great." I gave him the name of an agent I knew that lived in Santa Monica. I said, "Call her. Ask her if she'll take your referrals at 25% referral fee." I said, "All your friends are the age where they're going to start buying. The other side of that is all your friends' parents that you know are at the age where they're going to start selling because the kids are out of the house. Start making phone calls. Start calling, checking in with your old friends. Let them know you're in real estate. Make it like, and it doesn't have to be a real estate call. Check on your call up and check on your old friends. See how they're doing, especially with everything going on. Call and check on them. Make sure they're doing all right. See if they need anything. Let them know what you're doing now. This is what I'm doing now. And I know a great agent down there. If for some reason you or somebody needs something. If they're worried about furloughs, they're worried about their housing. I can get you an agent that can talk to you down there. When he was done, he had 7 referrals placed in escrow. After I met him in Bold, and by the time Bold was done, he had 7 referrals in escrow coming to him. And the next best thing than a commission check is a referral check, because you don't have to do nothing; you just get the money. So, I mean, there are ways. The other part is calling expireds and FSBOs. I'm not something we mail out to FSBOs. We don't, or expireds. We don't call them. There are no expireds really right now anyway. Good luck in finding those. But just call and ask. Same thing. I mean, the expired call is really easy. Hello, my name is Sean Keene with Keller Williams Realty. The reason I'm calling you today is your home has showed up on the multiple listing service expired. I'm not sure you knew that. I was wondering when you were planning to hire the right agent for the job to sell your home. There's 4 responses. I'm not listed. I'm going to do it for sale by owner. Stop calling me. I'm going to use the same agent. They're all, I'm not going to sell. The other answer is I'm not going to sell anymore. Oh, well, if we were able to find you a buyer and present you an offer today, you wouldn't consider it? Oh, maybe I would. Okay, well, then they're interested. For sale by owner, point out all the reasons that's a bad idea. I'm going to use the same agent. Wow. Okay. Can I ask you a quick question? Yeah. What are they going to do different this time that they did last time? I'm not going to sell anymore. Great. Same thing. It's the same questions. It's the same one over again. For sale by owners. Hey, it depends how you look at it. There's 2 different ways of thought on for sale by owners. One is, hey, I have a potential buyer. Can I come look at your home? I don't like doing that because if I don't have the potential buyer, I feel like it's a little shady. Now I have a database of several thousand people. May I have a potential buyer? Yeah, I might, but I don't say that. I just, hey, I'd love to come check out your house because I like to know everything that's on the market. Are you willing to work with an agent? Can I come look at your house? And then you're very rarely, I had one time I had a for sale by owner say, yeah, come list my house. Every other time it's been a long drawn out, usually by the 8th week, 8 to 10 weeks is for sale by owners is kind of the golden when they decide to give up. And right now with the way the market is, they're able to do it. And so it's not something we're doing right now, calling a lot for sale, but I mean, that's all you're doing. So beyond that, it would be tough right now to start a business in this with everything going on. I will most certainly agree with you and tell you that too. I mean, when I started, like I said, there was 22 months of inventory. There was 40 houses for every one buyer. So that wasn't easy either. So we're almost to 3. Who's got any questions? Come on.
Nuri, something else you could try is try and build your sphere with contractors and bankers and title agencies and such. May not get an immediate referral, but those are good people to know anyway. So it's something that you should try and build. And you never know, a referral might come your way just based upon that relationship.
See, I don't know anybody as far as like, contractor or any other people that I'm supposed to know or it's better to know. I don't have any source from it. So do I just need to drive around and find those people?
Google contractors in your area and see if they have a good license on the contractors board and give them a call, or ask, even if you're asking your own network, agent network. Just be careful not you're pilfering stuff off of other people, but at least you get to know people. It's okay to use the same contractor as somebody else. So it's just a start.
The thing you can do is people have done in the past, I've done in the past too, is go old school, phone book, A, attorney, R, real estate attorney. Boom. Hey, do you have an agent you use? Yes, no, okay, thanks. Hello, do you have an agent you use? Divorce attorneys. Hey, do you have an agent you refer to? Go to the wherever you're at. I'm sure there's a DR Horton and Lennar or some national builder. Go to the sales office. Ask to see who the site manager is, who the site agent manager is. We have DR Horton here in town. It's Trish. I know her. But say, hey, who do you send your non-contractor buyers to? Somebody that's coming in to buy a house but hasn't listed their house and doesn't have an agent. A lot of times what they're going to tell you is people that sell a lot of our houses, but like Corin said, they may have one. Hey, they just walked in the door here. They just left. Call them. It happens. You are learning, you are at the beginning, so you are scratching and crawling and scraping and trying to find a hold of something that will work for you. Like I said, doesn't work for me was I don't cold call. It didn't work. I don't like it. So I don't do that. But I know a lot of agents that are very successful doing that.
Another thing, and this is for anybody that is maybe struggling getting contacts, not necessarily someone in the new area. A lot of either solo agents or small teams may need a showing agent, and they can give you a small fee or a fee to do that. And you're building that reputation with that agent in your area as someone that's dependable, can show their clients to houses. It gets you into different houses in your community, which you should be doing anyway, and you're effectively helping out another agent and making a small income to help you either run ads or pay your bills. So those are options to talk to your center to try and build that sphere that way too.
What offers, Corey, what offers are you with?
I'm in the Eugene Springfield area.
Okay, and is it Nuri?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
What office are you with?
Sunset Corridor.
All right. Go into the office.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Kevin Mapes is?
In
your office?
I don't know Kevin.
If you want to go in the office, ask for Kevin and tell him I told you to come talk to him about some ideas.
Okay.
Kevin is a great agent. He helped me out at the beginning when I first started.
Okay.
And he hooked me up with some people, and I met a lot of people nationally through Kevin. So it's agents, but he's a good guy. Just go in there, ask Leslie who you can Sunset Quarter. Say, is there an agent like Corey was saying, that can help? Not only are you helping them out, but they'll teach you. You'll learn.
Mm.
So that's a great idea. Anybody else? Bueller? Or old enough to remember that?
Just piggybacking off of that as far as like building those like contractor relationships and just those other connections that can help you get referrals. I know, Nuri, that you're not connected with the WVMLS because you're out of Sunset Corridor, but if the RMLS or if there's anyone local, I know, like, for example, the WVMLS, because I'm out here in Salem, they have like preferred and just people that they recommend as far as like banks and mortgage companies and other contractors, landscapers, and they put that on their page. So you can, if you don't know where to start, you can kind of look there at their preferred and then call. I mean, make the call. And that's what I plan to do, because the only people that I actually really know as far as connections are the one that my coach shared with me, like my coach's personal person that they use. And then a friend of mine who I knew, like her husband does construction. So, and I'm starting to work on that relationship because I am connected to the wife. I'm not connected to the husband at all. So, I think just, yeah, start. And another thing that I did on Facebook, which I trying to be better at my Facebook, is just putting it out there and asking like, hey, who do you trust? I've got one person that I trust for photography, and I got three more recommendations for photographers. Just by putting the question out there. I have a son, so I posted a picture that he took on my phone. I was like, you do not want to trust my son to take your pictures. So who can you trust? Share that information with me. And that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's
I
great
don't know
ideas.
I don't know about RMLS has that some sort of preferred like landscapers and things like that. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Maybe I missed it. I'm not 100% sure.
I have one more idea for you. And again, with COVID, it's been difficult, but historically, all the Chamber of Commerce's people go to those events to socialize and meet contacts. So Nuri, once that's back up and live, you can go to business after hours, young professional network, whatever fits what you're wanting. And you will have people trading business cards because they want to connect. And working Women's Wednesday, Zoe says. But right now with COVID, you can at least go to the website. So go to the Chamber of Commerce in Sunset Corridor and you'll see a list of businesses sorted by category. And at least they've paid to belong. That means that they're interested in building business to business relationships.
So is it called Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So
all businesses of all types that want to network together to build their businesses.
Is it in the Market Center, or I can just look it up from their website?
You should be able to look it up on the website. It's run by the city, and so the Chamber of Commerce is. It's a connection to the office off Portland. There should be several of them up in that area. There should be Beaverton, Avalon, and Portland proper, and all that kind of stuff. They should all have Chamber of Commerces.
I can say that they're really fun. I went to some right before I got my license for one of my small businesses that I own. And it was really cool to network with people. So I would definitely take advantage of that, Nuri, when it comes back available. That was a great recommendation. I forgot about those.
Cool.
Especially when you're new, they will bring you in and they will introduce you and they will tell you who people are and kind of idea when you first show up. When they have a networking type meeting, or when they have a group together, that's their job. The people that work for the chamber is to facilitate all this stuff for people to meet and all that. So they will introduce you to people and make that transition easy for you.
Oh, that'll be so helpful.
Good idea. Good job.
Thank you so much, guys. That helps me a lot, so I can figure that out what I need to work on.
Yep. It's fine. They may not all be your thing, but if you can latch onto one or two, that's all it takes. Get that ball rolling.
Yeah. So I'll just check on Chamber of Commerce first to see what I can at that point.
Let's see. Anybody else? Questions? Go to the order. How great the real estate market is. Nothing? Nobody? Do we hit all your questions? Don't be shy. I'm not.
You know what? Since you've probably imagined in this PC program, we've had opinions about listing presentations, and it's gone from I don't even use a listing presentation. I just talk about the Z estimate, all the way to the other side of the spectrum where they're going through a 40-page booklet that's bound, right? So do you bring up Zillow at all in your process of a listing presentation to get that listing?
Yes, I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. The only reason I bring it up is because that's where they're looking. And I look it up. I know exactly what this estimate says before I go out, because that's where they're looking. Know your competition, know who you're up against. Yeah, have a way to explain why Zillow is so wrong. Here's what I tell people. how Zillow figures out its estimates. I said, Zillow sees every house as Red Delicious apples. Because we all know Red Delicious, right? Last time we went to the store, how many different kinds of apples are there? How many different price points are there on all those apples? Zillow cannot tell the difference between each house. All they see is Red Delicious apples. If you want to get really cheesy, I think your house is better than Red Delicious. And so, I mean, yeah, oh yeah, most certainly. I'm gonna go back to screen share here for a second. Because you should always have a leave behind. You should always leave something with them. Here's my, come on, there we go. Which one? We'll bring up Tolliver's. This is an active listing we have right now. Oh, I didn't save it there. Okay, that doesn't work. Let's go to Dickey Prairie. We just accepted an offer on this one yesterday. I bind this and take this with me to, and it's individual to each one. Come on. Cover sheet talks about, the first section talks kind of about how we determine value, how we market, why. Basically, this is all about price, how we come up with price. Second section, these are all tabbed with inside that binder, is summary, comparable market analysis, is estimate what they think that's worth, what I actually think it's worth. Here's a net sheet that I take with me because I find out how much they owe. So I take a net sheet. You should always take a net sheet with you. Any title can get those for you. We make our own. So gives a breakdown of the commission. You pay me this much. This is where it's all going. Here's the comparables, and here's the CMA for all the houses. Then we got, I put the active listing and pending and sold behind that. Then I go into the talk about tax eval, talk about why Prop 50 and Prop 5 ruin the tax assessment values in the state of Oregon because they can only go up 3.5% a year, even though our average home valuation goes up 4.5%. And so then this shows what the tax eval said their house is worth. Then I go talk about internet estimates. So I show Zillow, this is what Zillow says your house is worth, and the comps that I showed you say it's worth. E-appraisal, which is another good one that shows appraisals that have been submitted. These are all what the comps and what it says your house says it's worth. Then if they're into the square foot, I have this too. It talks about what prices are per square foot on all the comps I used. And then the average square foot of each property, and it talks about that. And I leave this behind. It's a big packet, it's thick, and that's my leave behind with them. So, like I talked before, I try to stand out. I'm gonna bring it in both.
Yeah. So, and again, because we've heard different opinions, some people send something in advance. Do you send that in advance, or is that really you're showing up for that appointment and then they see it for the first time?
We send a box in advance with our logo on the front of it. And inside the box is like 3 pamphlets, and they're like you would find at a car lot, car pamphlets. And one talks about buying a home, or one talks about selling a home. One is our resume. One is our stats, and another one is 151 questions you should ask every real estate agent. And they're, like I said, their pamphlets are several pages long, all of them. And that comes in a red box with our logo on the front of it, and our runner drops it off their front step a couple days before the listing appointment.
Setting up credibility. And is your goal to get that listing? Because we've heard a couple of times the goal is to get the listing before you leave. But then we've had someone else say that they do it at a 2-prong. I can't possibly give you a CMA until I've seen your house. So I'm going to come back in a couple of days and then we'll do the listing at that point.
I'm a 2-step guy. I've always been, I still take all the information, but I want to make sure, because I bring with me, because I've had it happen. I sat down, they're like, hey, okay, where do we sign? I take the 2 pages of the like our RMLS, Willamette Valley. I take the 2 pages that are actually the contract, not the data sheet. I have those all the time with me in every listing. So I can say, here, sign here, sign here. Okay, technically we're under contract. I'll get the rest of the information to you. If not, I circle back around. I just always do 2-step. I sent that stuff ahead of time because that answers a lot of the questions that they have. Then I show up with, this is exactly what we're going to do for your house. I showed you that first thing. And then I leave behind that packet. And it's about that thick that I leave behind. And I tell them before I open it and start showing them, this is for you. This is all the research I've done on your house to give you your price. Because most agents are showing up with 2 or 3 pages of comps, and here, this is what I think. Yeah, I kind of wing it. I use the, I just show up with a, TMO. I show up with, whatever they're. So I say, I've done this much research, and they're like, wow, they see how big it is. So
thank you. That's perfect.
That's kind of how I do it.
I have a question too. We have heard two different versions of open houses. Some people say they're absolutely not doing them right now. Some people say they're doing them with caution, and then some people say don't do them. And there's a lot of varying opinions. It sounds like you don't do them very much right now, but what if somebody insists, like, this is part of what you are supposed to be marketing, can you make it happen?
I've had nobody insist on me. I tell them, I go through the whole process. Which I just did, which I had to, after dealing with the seller, I'm very upset I did this, but I listed an $80,000 manufactured home in a park, all the way up to, we currently have a $2.3 million in escrow. I do the same process for all of them. I offer the same things to all of them. One is the same or one. So I tell them we do open houses. I said, right now with everything going on, we are staying away from open houses. If you would like us to do one and have people coming through your house that we don't know, we can do that. I mean, I throw that little caveat in there because then they're like, well, people coming through the house we don't know. I don't want that with COVID. But I throw that in there to, if they say, yeah, but I haven't had a single person push back saying they want one.
Do you do virtual tours and walkthroughs that way?
I haven't, but what we do for every listing is we do photos, we do a walkthrough video. Our photographer has one of the motion cameras that doesn't jerk around, and we also do Matterport 3D tours, the dollhouse tours on every listing. So that pretty much takes care of usually all that. I mean, if you can't figure out what the house looks like from those three things, you
froze for a second there, FYI.
Oh, am I there? Am I back? Our Wi-Fi. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. It just told me that. Our building's we need a new building, but okay. So yeah, it's, I don't know if you caught all that all. We do the three things: Matterport, walkthrough tour, and if they can't figure it out from those three things, that's, anybody else want to know anything? I mean, you guys don't want to sit here and talk to me for more hours? Come on.
Well, I have a quick question. I'll kind of ask, so I'm considering listing my own home. We moved here from Tri-Cities, Washington in 2019, like at the beginning of July. So basically we're a little bit under the 2-year mark. So I know capital gains tax comes into play. Now I have consulted pretty much everybody under the sun as far as capital gains tax, and I can't get a straight answer from pretty much anybody as far as how that's going to work. And it all conflicts with the research I've done on my own, on my phone. First and foremost, like, where would you go if you had a client who came to you and said, hey, I'm interested in listing my house, where we'd be within like 3 months of our 2-year mark? Where can I get information on if the government's going to tell me I have to pay 20% of the proceeds on my house or not? Like, who would you go to? Because even like my own tax people versus an acquaintance that I have that owns part of one in Salem at H&R Block is giving me conflicting information. I mean, everyone under the sun. So where would you send somebody for that?
I would go to my CPA because she's the one that's going to have to tell them to go to their CPA, because that person is going to have to defend it.
Okay.
I mean, if I was going to do that, I would go to my CPA and say, this is what, I mean, the basic numbers are whatever you bought it for compared to what you sell it for minus expenses, which would be you paying yourself to sell your own house, because you would want to do that. So whatever, and then you're getting taxed basically 40% on whatever the gains are on that.
Oh, it's 40. So the research I've done says 20, and then it can go 15 and 5. And so yeah, see, it's all conflicting, and I can't get like straightforward answers.
It's going to be right around 40.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good to know.
But, like I said, you get to take out whatever your fees were, because that's the cost of, just because you're a real estate agent doesn't mean you don't get the benefit of, the expenses of selling a house. You still have to, still cost to sell a house. So you're allowed to take that out of there. Beyond that explanation, I will tell everybody that asks, talk to a CPA.
Okay. All right, cool.
So.
Thank you.
All right. I know I'm asking lots of questions, but I'm going to throw another one at you.
Good.
Multiple offer situations. We hear people all the time, 10 offers, 40 offers. One of the teachers said, I had 100 offers over the weekend, and I don't push that on anyone. You're doing mainly, right? So I'm I'm curious, what are the creative things you're seeing on the offers you're getting on these listings? Anything you might share to help us when we're working with buyers?
We just had a listing this weekend that had 15 offers on it. The one that won came in 40,000 over ask, guaranteed the difference between that 350 and a low appraisal. And the low appraisal came in, they'll pay the difference. They waived all their inspections, and they gave her 90 days to find a house, plus an option for another 60 days if she needs it. That one's extreme.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But that's what won it. And it was close. So, I mean, she thought about taking one of the other offers too on top of it. So it wasn't like that was way above everybody else. It was close. In general, the way we're doing them, the way my agents are writing them is, as is, minus any lender required repairs. So, I mean, we got to do those. We're coming in high. We're putting lots of earnest money down. It's whatever the buyer's comfortable with, because we're advisors. So you got to figure out where they're at. So, sure, maybe they want to buy, they got 350 to spend. Maybe you're looking at 310 houses then, so you have that buffer. If they can spend 350 and that's it, and you're looking at 349 houses, you're probably not going to get them right now in this market. That's just, unless you're lucky. That'll write a lot of offers. So, as is, guaranteeing some of the money on low appraisal. Okay, if we offer you 350 and it comes in, we'll cover up to $2,000 or something. Just something.
I think because this is a seller class, I think, and we're talking about the same thing, but sellers that I don't want to sell my house today because I'm afraid I won't find another house. And I think that's those stumbling blocks of, and you just mentioned some where the buyer's willing to maybe rent back to them for 3 months or give them 3 months to find a house. We heard someone earlier say, release the earnest money after an acceptable appraisal so they can use that money to buy another house. And I think those are just some of those kind of interesting ideas to tell a seller, listen, I'm going to help you through the transition period.
The hard part for sellers right now, they're not going to believe us, but they have all the leverage. They do. So you can put it on the market and you can get an offer. We have one right now that I got, my phone's been going off. I was sitting here with offers coming in on the one listing we have, and they need to find a house over in Idaho. And they're going to get the time and leverage to do that because there's multiple offers and multiple people want the house. Now, if you have a house nobody really wants and you finally find a buyer for it, they're not going to have a lot of options, but they're going to have the leverage to dictate what they want or need to some extent. Releasing earnest money, that's always a good one. On offer side, we're once we get past the inspection period or appraisal period, whichever you want to do it, we'll release earnest money. So there's lots of little things you can do. Shorten up inspection periods. If you have a buyer that you're bringing a big chunk down, so say you're buying a $300,000 house, and usually it's about 55%. If they're bringing, $300,000 house and they're bringing in $155,000 down payment because they want to keep their payment low, ask the lender, can they waive the appraisal? That's enough money that a lot of lenders, a lot of underwriters will say, yes, you can waive their appraisal. You don't have to have an appraisal. That you can put that in the paperwork. Great. Push forward. Instead of pre-approval, get pre-qualified letters. Have them run your buyers through underwriting before you submit offers. They're going to push. Lenders will push back on that, but keep pushing. It doesn't cost them a thing. Put it through underwriting. Get me a pre-qualification. Let them know we've already gone through underwriting. So things like that. There's all sorts of things. Yeah, so the big push right now is we're stuck in a big circle. We have been for almost 3 years now. There's not enough inventory. And the reason there's not enough inventory is because people won't list because they're afraid they're not going to find a place to buy. But if they listed their place, they'd find places to buy because there'd be more houses. So we're stuck in this big old circle, and we have been, like I said, for like 3 years. This is just really bad right now. Inventory's been around two and a half months in our area for the last 3 years. And just this last 5 or 6 months, it's just off the table. So hopefully that helps. Think of it I saw one on Facebook the other day that an agent was asking a question about should they suggest a home inspection prior to listing the home. She was asking a national Facebook group, and it wasn't just Keller Williams, everybody. And the way I responded to it, and this is my response. This is the way I look at most things when it comes to this, when it comes to real estate. I said to her, what would you do if you were going to list your house? Because we're fiduciaries. We're supposed to do what we think is in the best interest of our client, right? Because I personally, before I list my home, I'm going to have an inspection. I'm going to hand the inspection report to my contractor and say, fix it. And then I'm going to probably have an appraisal before I list my house. So I know exactly what it sells for. Now, as the seller, if I have those three things, here's the inspection report, here's everything fixed, and here's the appraisal, is it going to be easier for me to sell the house?
No.
It's going to give me peace of mind. So if I'm willing to do that, I tell all the people all the time, I make the suggestion of a section beforehand. Because if I think that's what's in my best interest, obviously it must be in their best interest, I think, in my mind. So on all those kinds, even offers, when you're writing them, think to yourself, what would you do? What would you want? And make those suggestions. Because, I mean, like I said, it's our job to be fiduciaries. That's part of it. Don't tell them to do something you personally would be like, no, I wouldn't do that. That's too risky. I wouldn't do that for my house. Well, why would you tell somebody to do that to their house? Now, they may come up with ideas. Hey, can I do this? If you want to, here's the risks. Here's the rewards. Go from there. But if they're asking for your opinion and your ideas, that's the way I look at things when I make suggestions. So, all right, we're at 3:24. I can officially let you go without getting in trouble. So, anybody, Chelsea, you're welcome. Any questions or anything at all? Final, my information, I'll type here in the chat. I'll put my information. I'm sure you guys probably got it in an email, but I'll put it again just in case. If you guys have any questions. Oh, come on. Yeah, good. How do you do? Oh, that's, sorry. I was talking to Mara earlier, so I was trying to send her. Okay, 3, 5, 0. That's my regular website, and if you want to see my KW one, that's my KW one. So. Bye. I'm being waved at. I'll wave him. You're welcome.
John.
You're welcome, guys. I see lots of thank yous. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome in the chat. I'm not going to keep up with all those chats. Good luck, and I hope you all are successful. I want everybody to be successful. That's kind of how I am. So unless we're competing against each other, but that's beside the point. Then I won't be so cheery. No, I'm very competitive. I played sports in high school and some in college, so sometimes I get a little too competitive. But I hope you all best of luck. And if you have any questions, you have my information. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.